Greetings everyone, I'm Catherine Andersen from Gallaudet University, and I'm very pleased to be one of the liaisons for one of the Oregon Community Colleges, Clackamas. Hello everyone, but I also want to take a few moments to share with you not only my experiences with other colleges, but my experience as a liaison for my own institution a number of years ago in kind of the early stages for the Foundations of Excellence. I have been director of the first year experience, coordinator for retention, orientation, dean for general studies, associate provost, and my most recent position was chief enrollment and marketing officer. So I've seen the entire spectrum of things that really impact students, and I think the Foundations of Excellence is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to address the various issues that face our students. So let me tell you just a little bit about why we got into this at my own institution. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that we were not happy 7 years ago with our student retention rates. And a lot of people go into it for that. And I just want to caution you to think about it. You know, it's not about student retention per se, but it's about these practices and the policies and procedures and everything that we do for our students that really does make a difference for student retention. So we decided to go ahead with this, and we weren't sure if we were going to do it, but we got together our committee and we landed up with 100 different faculty and staff participating. And right in the middle of it, I wouldn't even say middle, but 3 months after we decided to do this, our university had a student protest. And if you remember, Gallaudet University, the only college for the deaf and hard of hearing in the world, only liberal arts institution, our students closed down the campus. And at that time, we had faculty and staff who were completely at odds with each other. But we decided that the thing that brought us together was this process, because no matter whether we agreed with each other, we really cared about about students and our students. So I will never forget our kickoff meeting for the Foundations of Excellence. That morning we had student tents all over campus, and the security had come in to take down the tents, and it was a very, very painful experience for us. But we came together, people who weren't even talking with each other, to do something that was going to help our students. But I want to take you back, I am going to go back for a moment, and I want to think about and share with you what I was thinking, sitting in your seats a number of years ago, thinking, oh my goodness, this is a lot of work. How are we going to do this? I can't believe I've gotten myself into this. But I want to just tell you to just continue to keep your eye on the prize, and don't think about all the things that you have to do, but keep saying, I know what we do is going to make a difference for students. And it really does, because I will tell you, after that student protest, we were put on probation from our accrediting agency. Things couldn't have been worse, and here we are 7 years later with the best student retention, the best graduation rates we've ever had, and I attribute it all really, really to looking at what we needed to do to make things better. So what were the challenges? Well, I've certainly shared with you some challenges that we have that hopefully you won't, and I know you won't. But the challenges really are about resources and people's time. We are all busy people, and it was finding the time to squeeze this in with a million of things we needed to do, to find the meeting times, to get to even find a time where we could get together, let alone do the work. I really recommend for you, any of you that are in the midst of accreditation, or tying it to any other existing committees that you have on your campus, or any need that you have that you're working on already, so that you're not duplicating, but you're really making best use of committee structures and people that you already have on board. What were some of the unanticipated events? Well, again, no one could have anticipated what we went through. But some real positive things that did happen was that because we were good about sharing our data and trying to be as transparent as possible, we had people who were for the first time paying attention to our graduation and retention rates. They couldn't even tell you, but now they were. We had faculty and staff working together who really hadn't even met, but saw that, wow, they've got something to offer. We also discovered all of these things that were happening that were duplications on campus, and that was anticipated but unanticipated in some ways, so that we were able to make better use of our resources. Some of the outcomes I've told you already. My goodness, here we are 7 years later with the best retention, first to second year, on to graduation, highest pass rates in those high DFWD courses, people using words like student engagement, supplemental instruction, failure rates, where people before, faculty and staff alike, were not even talking about those kinds of things. Have we implemented anything? Well, yeah, we did not, and other institutions that I've worked with have really tried to figure out what were their high impact practices that they needed to do to make a difference. And of course, that'll vary on every campus. For our campus, it happened to be that for many of our developmental students, the developmental math course was an absolute weed-out course that demoralized students, and we could see that if they didn't pass that, they weren't moving on, and yet these were very capable students. We found that by involving faculty more and helping them understand their role in early alert was really critical for our students. We also saw that we needed to look down a little bit more about some of our student policies and practices. We had a policy, for example, and this is just sort of a teaser for you, but we had a policy where students could withdraw from a course as many times as they wanted. And so we began to really say, okay, we've got to look at that policy to see how we're really helping the students. One of the proudest things for me was how we involved our students in this process. And what we did, we had a course, we had an independent study course the second semester in the springtime, so it's not too late, where we had students who were education majors, those who had worked as peer advisors, or in many of the residential campus, residential advisors, but students involved in orientation, to sign up for a 3-credit course. And in this course, I taught it along with another faculty member. It was another dean at the time. And we had our students, we had about 15 upper-level students, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and in your case in the community college, it could be your second-year students, where they were learning about institutional change, they were learning about higher education, they were learning about college student personnel and some of the best practices of student development, along with responsibilities for them that included being part of each dimension group, but they had a very, very active role. They were note takers, they did the logistics, they worked right alongside the dimension leader in writing reports, editing reports, coming to steering committee meetings. So our students then they were responsible for pulling together PowerPoint presentations for the entire community, for the logistics and advertisement, and they then were also very heavily involved in working with student organizations and getting student input. So this 3-credit class that we held for students became a mechanism for us as faculty to really, really find out what was happening with students. And this is not the motivation, but it certainly turned out to be. The students were so helpful for us in terms of some of the nitty-gritty things that we needed to do. That was a wonderful, wonderful process, and students now who have long ago graduated will often say to me, wow, that was a great, great experience to be part of that process. The survey data, really very, very, very important. A couple things you want to be thinking about, and you may be talking with your other organ institutions about what extra questions you want to ask your students on your survey. But also the questions that have been designed for this process are very explicit, very, very much tied to best practice. And so when you're responding in your dimension committees, you really want to be very careful to look at what your survey data is telling you. I think for me the most eye-opening data was what students said versus what faculty and staff said, where faculty and staff might think we've got this fabulous orientation program, and where for the students it just, they didn't see it. So what advice do I give you? Don't be afraid of this. You know, it's a wonderful, wonderful process. It's something that you really, really, as long as you keep your eye on the prize, this is about changing students' lives. It's about making a difference for students. And certainly our retention rate, I can tell you, is up at least 11%, an average of 11% over the last few years. And that tells me we've made a difference in a lot of students' lives. Take advantage of your institute staff. Certainly I'm one of them. Sarah, you're going to meet in a few minutes. You've had the pleasure of seeing Drew and John and Betsy and many, many other institute liaisons. We are here for you. We have led it. We have been part of it. We are here for you. Worked with many other institutions. And if I don't know the answer, or Sarah, or Drew, or John, or whatever, we certainly have each other to do that. But we're here to help you because we so much believe in the power of this process. So I say congratulations to all of you. You have made a commitment to change students' lives. And just keep your eye on that prize, because at the end of the day, you have made a difference for someone that maybe someone might not have. So best of luck. We're here for you, and I hope you do not have any tornadoes, earthquakes, or hurricanes, because here on the East Coast, boy, we're done with those. So I look forward to hopefully seeing many of you